Alrighty, YouTube. So we're doing another VOD review. This is your boy Apxche. As you all know, today we have Luna here with us actually. So it won't only be me talking. We'll definitely ask him a few things about thought process, win conditions, things like that, so we can see where his head's at and see what we can figure out as well as fix. And yeah, we're playing some ShaLin on Serpent Beach against the enemy comp, as you can see right there. We're playing Recurve. Very interesting. Typically, I would say just run the fucking AoE cripple, especially since you're playing against an Atlas and a Mave. Just in case you do miss, if you hit anywhere near them, bam, they're crippled, right? But other than that, we already looked at the build. I'm not really going to go back, but the build's pretty standard, pretty good. And yeah, so real quick, Luna, right? Looking at your comp and looking at their comp, right? You guys have two backliners. You guys have two tanks that can play pretty aggressively, as well as you have a Grover. Pretty decent comp. Their comp, on the other hand, they have one backliner with a flank, as well as they have kind of two slow tanks, in my opinion. So when it comes to taking ground, it might be a little bit harder in the sense of they need more time, unless Atlas goes big wall, which he's not, right? So yeah, those are things to keep in mind. One thing I would say, though, is when you look at their comp, as the ShaLin, what do you think is your responsibility?
Mostly keeping the Vivian and Maeve in check. Like keeping them where they can't really push into my backline at all.
Okay, so when I look at your comp, the first thing that I notice is that, like I said, you have two backliners, right? You have a Willow and a ShaLin versus a Maeve and a Vivian. Realistically, the Willow should kind of carry in a lot of aspects, but there's one thing that Willow is going to struggle at, and that is going to be fighting Maeve. Playing a blaster projectile into something that can jump in the air and float around, especially when the projectile is really not that fast, is hard. So realistically, I don't see your Willow dueling that Maeve and beating that Maeve a lot of times, especially if it's a pretty good Maeve, right? If they're low, sure, whatever, but full health versus full health, that Maeve will probably win. Unfortunately, in this case, that Maeve probably went execute instead of the extra damage, so Irem's DR is probably gonna get a shitload of value, but hey, right? So if I'm you here, my main focus is going to be focusing down the Maeve, because in my opinion, if you're not shooting Maeve, she's doing things for free, right? I want to constantly keep her poked. I want to constantly keep her crippled, so she's not able to just do whatever she wants, get wherever she wants. I want to slow him down, because in all reality, the enemy team does not have the tools to deal with my Willow, who is going to carry the game, other than the Maeve, right? Here we go. Like I said, Bush with his fucking infamous execute, which actually works out for you. That's damage.
Resi train big time.
Alright, so you get resilience. They do have, a couple stuns. Personally, in my opinion, I might have started Haven first, because coming out of spawn here, they're not going to have ults, you're not going to have ults, and by the time they build it up, the point should kind of be capped already, so it wouldn't really have mattered. Unless you're a tank and they have a ton of CC that's going to hard punish you all the time. As a DPS, I would kind of focus a little bit more on dueling potential. So right here, I would lean a little bit more towards the Haven, especially since Maeve doesn't have that burst. It'll make you even harder to kill if she jumps on you.
Here's a quick question for you about that. What if we ended up taking Nimble 2 instead of that? Would that also help the potential with that, or would we just want to stick with the Haven?
If you feel like the Nimble might be beneficial, that could work as well. One thing I would tell you to do is definitely kind of plan out what you're gonna buy for this game. So obviously they have so much CC, you need to buy Resil at some point. So Resil is a must. Haven is probably one of the best items in the game, so Haven will always be good. So Haven and Resil are already a must. You have two more slots. At that point there, you're gonna have, those are basically, there's one more must, and if you already have Haven, and if you already have the Resil, the next one I'm gonna say you're probably gonna lean more towards, you could probably lean more towards Nimble there, because that's pretty good on Sha in my opinion. So those are three items, and then your filler buy will probably be like an MR. Maybe if depending on how the Vivian's gonna be, maybe you'll buy an early Wrecker 1 and that's it, things like that. But yeah, so usually the way it goes when it comes to buying items is in the beginning of the game, you look at what they have, so you can get an idea of what are the 2-3 things I have to buy, and then you'll always get that filler in the end. So right here, Resil's fine. I don't think you need to start it. If you were to start either Haven or Nimble first, that'd be fine. I would personally, I would prefer the Haven, because I just want to just increase my chances of kind of taking a little bit more shots, especially with kind of how big hitboxes are. I feel like Nimble might not be enough to dodge shots, especially against like half decent players. But yeah. All right, so boom. So what should be your first thought here as you're rolling out?
Probably trying to see where that Mave is going. I was
Exactly.
mostly looking for. I was trying to make sure the Vivian couldn't sit there just keeping. Trying to think of the wording
Gotcha.
I want to use here.
So like you said,
Basically,
the first thought was correct. Boom, where's Maeve, right? So that needs to be your first thought. Most of
mhm.
the time, flanks are going to push through here unless they feel like it's not worth. But I mean, there's no reason for him not to do it for the sole fact that, like, nothing's going to contest him. So he gets that lane for free, so he can get free angles on your tank, he can get free poke on your high, because ideally he's not going to look to dive because diving a Willow, ShaLin, Grover doesn't seem very smart. But getting poke damage in, getting waiting for tanks to get low so that he can get pounces for eliminations will probably be the way he wants to go. So him fighting straight up here is kind of troll in my opinion. But right here, you've already identified where the Mave is, right? Your job, fight Mave. You have identified that she's there. You're gonna pop some shots. One thing I want you to think about though is if she disappears, your mind needs to be where is that Mave, right? Because your Willow's gonna be fighting this already, or your Willow might be burning point. But in all reality, I feel like your Willow should be probably focusing more high ground here.
Yeah.
So boom, Mave is gone. We need to figure out where this Mave is at, right? So bam, all tanks are up top. And we know nothing's capping. So right now Mave is just burning your point, sounds like. Mave got a kill. So boom, Mave gets 2 kills here, right? This is your responsibility. And since you're not hyper-focused on this, Mave carries this fight. Yes, they get low. They should be a little bit more aware. They should know that she has execute. But like I said, that Vivian isn't doing shit. You're poking her when she's not the threat. The threat is the Mave, because you are the only person that can deal with that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can probably skip past this fight, but we'll just let it play out. See if we see anything else. Mave is now dead. They're not capping yet, so you maintaining the space is not bad. Atlas is not walking at you. You're fine. So as we can see here, it's taking you more than one shot to delete that shield. So maybe we might need Wrecker later on, but that's just something to like take note of. We'll see how much that Vivian's doing. Okay. Gotta be careful with dropping like that. So right here you already have ult. Like this ult pop. Honestly, I don't even know if you need to continue to fight him there. I probably would have just went to their back. Then again, good kill. Maeve's probably to your left now. Right, so that works out for you guys. You had a shot, nice. Tripled, easy money. Vivian top right.
You can get up top. They just won. Yeah, I'm going.
I'd be careful here because you're by yourself. Yeah, you probably die here. So right there, you kind of bit off a little bit more than you could chew. In my opinion, the thing with ShaLin is really good against squishies. He's not very good at tanks. So when tanks get in your face, it's kind of when you struggle because you're not going to get shots off fast enough to do enough damage compared to this guy constantly hitting you for 800 in your face, right? Honestly, when he already got me half and he was on this, I would have already retreated and at least got to that little the waterfall thing, because right here is really risky. Like you could have died here. It gets you back down and boom, dead. So you guys cap, so it doesn't really matter, but this is something to keep in mind.
Never mind. On their high ground.
So now at this point, we need to start thinking about where our teammates are at. So we know that we have control of this as well as we have. So basically, we're like have control of this area here. I'm pretty sure that nothing might be over here other than the Mave that the Khan is fighting. I would probably try to rotate there so you can try to get yourself bottom Oasis, so that you can get those long ranges of sight. Right now, there's nothing here, so there's no threat, so you need to be moving forward. I'd honestly use your withdrawal. Yeah, so they're playing up top. It's just the Mave. He's dead. So yeah, I would have already. If I'm you, I'm already like over here. So I can already be popping off shots into their backline.
Rewind it a couple seconds.
What happened?
Could you rewind a couple seconds? So you were saying like as soon as the willow jumps up there, right?
So I'll tell you when. So right here I'm looking, boom. So we see Maeve, Vivian's dead. So right now there's 3 dead, right?
Right.
Meaning that
We had no
this is your
advantage.
only threat. And Irem's kind of already like shooting at her. We know where her relative location. So I've already been moving up here. Because there's no way that, especially without her cat burglar, there's really no way that she should kill you here. So walking up, just getting a space right now is really important. Because holding this area doesn't really do much.
Right. Because they have nothing that's really going to contest over there.
Plus, they don't have to like necessarily poke you from there. So.
15 seconds remaining.
Yeah.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
He's on high ground.
It's overtime.
Good kill. So now here, like I wouldn't even worry about him. Because if he's smart, he's not even going to peek you. I just leave. Get to that opening, because then you can get vision on that window. You know, you can get that range advantage that you really want to take advantage of here. So you help get the kill there, but I'd already want to be over here. So right here, you're hella close too. Just get good habits of being in good spots.
So is this not where I'd want to be? Is right here?
You really don't have any cover. I feel like where you just were was fine, or maybe a little farther back. Because this cover is kind of
Right.
ass. I'm pretty sure. I feel like they can just see your head at all times.
So would I be closer to like the door?
Let's see. I'll tell you right now. So I say either you're gonna play right here or you're gonna play farther back.
Okay.
Depending on like, so obviously we know they're all in spawn, so that spot's okay because they still got to close a lot of gap. But you know, personally, you can play as far as you want, especially if you can hit those shots. All right, we have 4 ults going into next mid too. We know they don't have Maeve ult, as well as we know they don't have a Gnar ult, so that's something that's pretty cool as well. So yeah, I mean, me honestly, I would be like, I want to do some ape shit, some stupid shit, right? I have ult. I know Vivian's gonna play height with Atlas and probably Furia. Maeve might make an adaptation where she goes right side. So there's a possibility where maybe you can honestly just challenge her right side with your ult and just try to take that fight. She has no Illuminate, and if she doesn't buy Illuminate, it's gonna be really hard for her to take that fight with you. See,
Set up anything for you, or are you still
especially with no Haven and stuff, I would just take that ego fight. Get her out the way, and then they don't have dive tanks to get on you fast enough, so you should be able to get out. If you can kill her and get out, or just kill her and then have that angle, it would be really scary for the other enemy team. Okay. Left side, you see Maeve start there. Fury ulting, so you gotta be careful.
is half behind their pillar? Got her.
Yeah, Willow has ult, she kind of kills everything. Bam, easy money.
Alright, next.
So now at this point, you have Irem playing top left, so your main focus should be just watching mid. So right here, right here, you're basically doing what Irem's doing. You guys are kind of both looking at this, which is a waste, because let's say somebody sneaks by and Khan misses, or maybe Khan looks away or whatever. Like, he needs help. He can't dismount everybody on his own. I mean, he can, because it's a pretty easy gun, but there's a chance he can miss a person, you know? Or he can get pressured out by the Maeve because of damage and execute, you know? So
Welcome to this new episode.
I should have stayed where I was, being able to see mid.
yeah, I feel like being mid. Since you already have somebody left side being mid, would have been fine.
Yeah.
Like Rover's doing weird shit.
Yeah, I'm trying to bounce too. Atlas is on high. Yeah, I'm looking. He has the wall in my way though.
We're gonna hit him eventually.
Yep. Eventually.
Target Prio. He has Mother's Grace. Shoot this motherfucker. Shoot the healer. There you go.
Only Maeve up there.
Behind you. Oof. Yeah, you should win this. Easy money.
If I had Resi 3 there, I'd kill him, but I had Resi 2.
Also, another thing about your ult as well is like I know that sometimes it might be a little spooky because you're like, oh, I don't want to pop ult because he can just throw a mine and reveal me. Your ult also gives you attack speed. I'm pretty sure. So if you're just
Yes.
you can just pop it as a stim. You know, like even if he's gonna reveal you anyways, it's fine because you can do more damage. You know.
One of the reasons why I didn't pop it here, and I was even thinking about this, because I watched this one on my own a little bit already, but one thing I did think about was, like, they were almost always down, like, 1 or 2 people, and I was told,
Yeah.
like, basically never ult if it's a 3v5, usually even it's in their favor or your favor, because it's kind of a waste. You've already kind of won the fight, or the fight's already kind of lost already at that point, because they're kind of staggering themselves out.
Yeah.
Would you still want me to ult at that point? Would I just keep holding it like I am, just in case they do end up regrouping, or...?
Yeah, so more so what I was saying was not directly toward this exact moment. I definitely, during the mid, I wouldn't have been opposed to you popping it, especially when the Willow's in the air too, because now they have 2 big threats they have to worry about. Does Vivian try to fight the Willow that's above her, or does she focus on the invisible ShaLin that's running at her, right? So
Right.
I probably would have used it there. I should have said that earlier, but even if they are down members, like you're about to win the game, like throw that shit, you know, like fuck it, who cares, right? Just pop it out, get some shots out, whatever, right? Sha ult is one of those ults where it can be really good. It also can't. If we think about our team, right, I think I like to do is I like to go through the team and figure out what ults are pretty like super strong and what aren't. I think Willow ult is like insane for mids, especially when they don't have counters. Con ult's insane. And then I think yeah, so these are probably the most insane ults you have on your team, and these are kind of throwaway ults. Like they're good, but you can kind of use them wherever, and as long as you have these 2, you have a really good chance of still winning the mid. So with your ult, especially when it's not super important, like when they have like, let's say they have no counters and you can like farm hella hard with it, you should just be popping it all the time. Pop it as a stim, pop it a fight, whatever, you know. Yeah, like if stims, it's a stim, you know. Stims are stims.
You can
Right.
also just ult.
So right here, you're probably just gonna win this fight. They're gonna walk out anyways. You know he's gonna walk out with his shield. So there's like if he touches here, there's no way you're gonna do damage to him. So I would say just be ready to shoot this way once he puts his shield up. Me personally, he puts shield up, I'm probably popping ult and I'm running it through with con. But he doesn't get touched, so yeah.
I guess the last question I have about the ults, when they started that mid fight, they popped Furia ult, and they had the Atlas wall in my way. Would I still pop it and walk forward? Would I pop it and just go mid, or would I do something different?
I mean, you could
Because the
pop,
first plan,
you could pop it and check mid real quick, and then just kind of wait out the wall, or you could wait a little bit till the wall's about to drop and then pop it, you know.
okay, because that was the original plan, was go, okay, Furia ult's gonna end, then I'm gonna pop it. By the time I was already about to do that, we had already won the
I don't
fight
think
because of
so
Willow
much
ult.
as much.
Yeah.
I mean, it does sometimes.
Yeah, so in that scenario there, it's like the fight was kind of already over, right? So not necessarily a bad call. You didn't play bad this game. I just feel like you didn't. I feel like here's what I really think. I feel like Bush didn't play as good as Bush could have, and since he didn't play it at his best because he didn't understand his win condition, he didn't punish you for not focusing him. Ideally, right?
Yep.
ShaLin is a fucking flank murderer. So like, especially
Yes.
in this scenario here, where it's like no one can really fight her but you, that needs to be your responsibility. And if he was aware of that, he should be like, okay, I'm not getting focused. I'm gonna go to the side, and I'm gonna poke her. What's it called? From behind her shield, and now she either has to take damage from me or damage from the Inara, right? And then it's like, you know, your Nyx gets low. She doesn't have ult. She's getting pounced 9 times out of 10. Khan gets low, doesn't have shot. He's getting pounced. You know, so like his whole mindset, you know, like should have been like, I need to get off angles, off angles, off angles. But he was fighting so straight up all the time, he wasn't able to abuse that. So
So here's a question about the focusing part. When I hear that, I think like, okay, shoot no one else but that individual. Is that kind of what I'm doing? Is I'm just trying to only look for her, or am I still shooting other things until we locate her?
use your best judgment, ideally. What I mean by focus is this is your responsibility, right?
Right.
Which means that when she has to be dealt with, that's your job, right? There's going to be times where she's going to be doing bullshit, and if he's not doing what he's supposed to do, I don't mind you looking away for a second, popping shots, helping your team, right? If you know Maeve is right side, you know, waiting to flank forever and not doing anything, if you feel like you can pop off a few shots at the Atlas or the Vivian and then turn back and still deal with her, by all means, you know, as you play more and more, you'll start to realize windows of opportunity, and you'll start to understand, okay, I don't have to stare at this fucking doorway. I'll hear her when she starts to walk in, and I can react fast enough, right?
Right.
So focuser just means that understand that is your like basically like you ever play football?
Yeah, I did a little bit when I was younger.
Right. So think of it this way, right? Like when you play like DB or like linebacker, you have assignments. Like people can be your assignments. You can deviate from those assignments when the time is right, but for the most part, that's your responsibility. You know. And if something happens because you're not doing your responsibility, it's on your fault, nobody else.
That makes sense.
Yeah.